Welcome everyone to this video where we discuss important news in Tesla. What happened yesterday night is that Model Y Juniper finally launched in China. And we have discussed this before. We knew Model Y is coming, the update, and we knew it's going to very likely come in January. But there are a bunch of questions that we have to get into to understand what it means for the stock and what it means for Tesla at large. So first of all, let's take a look at that amazing new Model Y. Model Y is the best-selling car in the world, so this is a very important update. And you see here, the design, in my opinion, is amazing. It's what I anticipated. It's a blend between Cybertruck from front and Model 3, the updated Model 3. So it's a nice blend. I think it's a little more futuristic than the updated Model 3 was, which is appropriate. And here you see the Chinese launch video for the new Model Y. We know that this model is coming out only in China right now, so it's purely China. But we also know that very likely Tesla is going to launch this worldwide in very short order because of something that I will discuss right now. And that's something you have probably heard of, is the so-called Osborne effect. Here you see the old Model Y and the new Model Y. The Osborne effect means that if you launch a new model, that people who wanted to buy the original model are not going to want the old model anymore and are going to postpone their purchase until they have access to the new model. Why is this important? I think the Osborne effect for the Model Y will be especially large. And that means Tesla cannot launch this in China and then wait 6 months before it launches it in Europe and the United States. In fact, I think Tesla has to launch the Model Y now in the United States and in Europe very, very soon, because otherwise it will get Osborned on its demand, which will be very bad. So I would expect this launch to happen very soon in the United States and in Europe. Here you see some more comparisons. Look at this. Amazing. So you see that it's way more futuristic, the new Model Y. You see that the both from back and front, it has like one singular line here for the back lights and front lights. So I think we can expect the launch to happen now very soon. And I actually put a probability on this catalyst of the Model Y Juniper update launch of 25% this week, and then week by week, ramping up the percentage probability for those of you who are interested in the impact on the stock. My conviction was we have this launch happening in January with a 99% chance, I think also globally. And I said per week, we have a 25% chance of this happening. Now it just happened very early on. And let's take a look now quickly what that does to Tesla stock price. And we see that Tesla right now, end of the trading day today on Friday, or closing into the end, is at $395, up 0.2%. And some people say, well, that's not very impressive for a Model Y launch, for the most important car in the world and the most important car for Tesla to announce the launch. Now, I have two comments on that. And that's a little bit, stock trading and stock investing 101. You can't just look at the Tesla chart for that. My estimation was that the announcement of the Model Y launch will have a significant effect on the stock, but not an enormous effect, for simple reasons being that we knew it's going to launch. So it's no surprise. We also knew very likely it's going to happen in January. Still, the launch will move the stock a little bit of an expected event. And I estimated the impact 2 to 3%. Now we see the stock is up 0.34%. My argument is the following. Look at the NASDAQ. Today is a bad day for the NASDAQ, a significant drop. It's recovering a little bit here. But you see the NASDAQ is down 1.36%. And we also saw that Tesla recently moved pretty much in line with its beta to the NASDAQ. So if the NASDAQ drops 2%, Tesla drops 4%. It has a beta of 2. So every time the stock market moves and there are no significant news on Tesla, it tends to move with a factor of 2. So stock market is up, or NASDAQ is up 2%, Tesla goes up 4%, NASDAQ drops 2%, Tesla drops 4%, unless there's some news. So what we have to really look at, in a normal neutral news day, Tesla would be down roughly 3%, right? Tesla should just trade down roughly 2.7% down today. But in fact, Tesla is trading up 0.42%. So basically, the argument is very clear that compared to its beta move, 2.6% down, but it's actually 0.4% up, that Tesla effectively benefited 3% from the Model Y launch, which is on the upper end of what I expected for the day the launch is announced. So what does it tell us? I think Model Y perception by the stock market is very good, on the upper end of what I expected. I think there will be more upside once the launch in US and Europe is announced. If that happens this month, that will add probably another 3% to the stock, just my estimate. These are not guarantees, as you know. And so I think everything is going according to plan. I think it's a beautiful launch. It's a beautiful new car we have here by Tesla. And my thesis on the stock is we are hitting probably 11 to 12,000 currently, my estimate, by 2030. And all these catalysts coming in, same with version 13 of FSD, for example. If things happen according to plan with no surprises, that is a very good thing, because it means we stay on that trajectory towards 11, 12,000 by 2030. If all the things just happen the way we expect them to happen, you will have a CAGR, an annual return of Tesla stock, in my opinion, of around 90%. So we don't need much. We just need people to deliver. We need FSD to come out with version 14 before June. We need to see the Robotaxi launch, pilot launch in Q3, ideally, latest Q4, in multiple US cities with thousands of cars. We need Optimus to come out with a few thousand examples in Tesla factories. We need the affordable car to be launched this year, very soon in Q1, or at least announced and shown and demonstrated. And yeah, tactically, we need the Model Y to come out in US and Europe. So the bottom line is, I think we are on track. I think the little downside of Tesla stock we experienced, that was actually pretty bad for me and many others that we saw in the last 3 weeks here, from a peak of, what's happening here, from a peak of, what was that, 484 all the way down here to 380 something. That was very, very painful for those of us who are a little leveraged. But I think that goes hand in hand with a slight market correction we see in the S&P, right? You see over the same time that Tesla actually followed the NASDAQ pretty much. And I think the reasons for these drops in the market are little phony, healthy retracements, where the market basically gets good economic news constantly. Today, a very good jobs report. Then we had, good industrial production and manufacturing numbers. Every time the market gets good news, it drops because it thinks the Fed is going to get more hawkish. But strategically, the market being in a worse mood, in a worse mood because the economy looks good, that's the kind of retracement that you kind of want, because it means earnings will come in stronger over time and so on and so forth. So bottom line is, I think Model Y launch, beautiful. I think the market's going down a little bit. They've reached, if nothing bad happens, the reason they're going down is because we have good economic news. And I think that means for Tesla, we are reaching a good point for the stock where I do not think, unless something bad happens, it can drop much further than 380. So we are really hovering around a good resistance. And if these news keep coming in January with a bunch of catalysts, we're in a very good shape. So I hope that was helpful. That's my Friday news update on Tesla. Very exciting news on the Model Y. We're all excited. Much more news to come. Stay tuned and see you very soon.